Hello everyone, a very warm good morning to all of you. Myself Vivek Prakash Yadav and I am here to take your biology class. And in class 10 topic that we are dealing is how do organisms reproduce. And in that, in the last class, we have discussed about sexual reproduction and the reproductive part in the male reproductive part in the case of plant. And now in today's class, we are going to discuss about the female reproductive part, okay, in the case of flowering plant. So female reproductive part in flowering plant. Okay, female reproductive part in the flowering plant. Now, second thing is that what is the female reproductive part? It is pistil. Yes, you can say gynosium. So when we are going to draw the structure of female reproductive part, it is something like this. Okay. This top region is known as stigma. Okay. This elongated region is known as style. Okay, stigma style. This is your ovary, the swollen part. Okay. Got it? Swollen part. Inside ovary, there is presence of ovule. Okay. Inside this is ovule. These are the major part of the female reproductive organ in the case of plant. That is structure of the pistil or gynosium, you can say. Topmost flat region, okay, that is known as stigma, elongated tube-like structure which is known as style, and the swollen part which is known as ovary, and your inside the ovary is your ovules. Okay. Now, stigma, a platform for the landing of pollen. Okay, what is stigma? It is a platform for the landing of pollen grain. What is style? It is tube like structure through which pollen tube pass. Okay, pollen tube pass to ovule. Okay, through which pollen tube pass to ovule. What is ovary? It is the swollen part develop into fruit. Okay, swollen part which is developed into fruit which is edible. Yes, okay, edible portion. Edible fleshy part that we eat of the fruit is actually it is nothing but the ovary. And if we talk about ovule, it is your seed. Okay, develop into seed. So these are what the function of each and every part of the female reproductive organ in the case of plant. Now we are going to be discussing in detail few things. What happened? As I told you, when there is fertilization, I mean to say pollen grain and the female reproductive part, that is male gamete and female gamete, there is one condition that they need to be receptive. Okay, female reproductive part, or we can say pistil. Okay, pistil should be pistil should be in receptive condition. Receptive condition. Pistil should be in receptive condition. Then only fertilization takes place. Okay, we can say what are the conditions that is necessary for the fertilization in the case of plant. So, pistil should be in receptive condition. What do we mean by receptive condition is that it means that the female reproductive or ovule should be mature, okay, and when they are going to be mature, in this region of the stigma, okay, in this region of the stigma there is secretion of some chemicals, okay, there is secretion of the chemicals, and what happens when the pollen grain, okay, when the pollen grain fall on the stigma, when they get in contact with those chemicals, they help in the germination of pollen tube, okay, they help in the germination of pollen tube, and those pollen tube moves with the help of style, and finally they enter to the region where egg cell is present, okay, that we will discuss. So this is the point that fertilization should be possible only when pistil and female reproductive part and male reproductive part both need to be mature conditions, okay. So this is the female receptive conditions when they are mature, and this stigma receives some chemicals which help in the germination of pollen tube. Hopefully we are not leaving any point. Now we are moving to the next point. Now, I just have you a brief information about double fertilization and triple fusion. Okay, what do you mean by double fertilization and triple fusion? Double fertilization okay, double fertilization and triple fusion. And triple fusion. Now be attentive here. What do you mean by double fertilization and triple fusion? Remember, here the term is using fertilization, here the term is using fusion. Any cell, okay, any two cells, suppose this is one cell, okay, and this is another cell. This is another cell, okay, having nucleus. So any cell when combined together, okay, combined together, that is known as fusion. Okay, any cell, it's irrespective of reproductive cell or non-reproductive cells. If two cells going to be combined together, that is known as fusion. But what is fertilization? What is fertilization? When gamete cell fuse. Yes, when fusion takes place among gametes, male gametes and female gametes. In that case, we used to known as, that case is known as fertilization. Correct? Fusion, any cell when they are going to combine, you can say that is fusion. But when we talk about fertilization, okay, it means when the gamete cell is going to be fused, that is known as fertilization. Okay, hope you understood this concept. Now we will discuss actually what is double fertilization and triple fusion. Okay. First of all, we are going to draw the structure of ovary. See, this is the typical structure. Now, at one region, that is antipodal region, you will find 3 antipodal cells. Initially, actually, what happens, they are something like this. It is a structure of embryo. 4 cells are there on both. At both the polar region, there are 4 cells are there. Okay, what happened? One cell start migrating from each pole towards the center. Okay, one cell start migrating from each pole towards the center. So the structure finally got is something like this is the chalajan region. What happened? One moves from here and one moves from here. So what you see here, one cell from this side and one cell from this side move together in the center and they fuse. In the center and they fuse. This is your first fusion. Okay, first fusion. Okay, this is the general structure. What? Polar central nucleus. This is polar central nucleus. From the polar side, both the nucleus, both the cell move towards, they form the central cell. Okay, central cell. So that is known as polar central nucleus. Okay. Now this is actually a typical structure of the embryo cell. Now what happened? When this structure is present inside the ovary, and mature pollen grains when fall, okay, mature pollen grain fall on the stigma. What happened? Pollen tube germinate. We will draw the structure some different way. What happened? Suppose this is the pollen grain. I told you in the last class. Okay, so it is receptive in mature condition. What will be happen? Pollen tube will germinate. Okay, the pollen tube will germinate from the pollen grain. Okay, in the center of the ovary you found the ovule. Okay, there are egg cell. Okay, with chalaza region here antipodal and 2 polar central nucleus. Okay, first fusion I told you, when this polar nucleus that is going to be fused, first fusion. Okay, now what happened through the pollen tube? Okay, now what happened through the pollen tube? These 2 male gametes going to be transferred. Okay, these 2 male gametes, that is generative and generative and vegetative gametes, going to be transferred through the pollen tube. And what happened? They start moving towards, and the pollen tube entered in the ovule. Okay, during that time what happened? Generative cell, generative gamete fuse with the egg cell. Fuse with the egg cell. Second fusion. Okay, second fusion. Okay, second fusion. And the vegetative gametes. Okay, the vegetative gametes are fused with the polar central nucleus, which already have first fusion. Okay, so when this again going to be fused, that is known as third fusion. Third fusion. Do you got the concept why it is triple fusion? This is the reason why this is known as triple fusion. Got it? First polar central nucleus going to be fused, first fusion. Second, what happened? The generative cell is going to fuse with the egg cell. Third, when the vegetative gametes going to fuse with the polar central nucleus. This is what your triple fusion. What is double fertilization now? Okay, double fertilization. Simple concept here. What you have seen, how many gametes are there in the male in pollen grain? There are 2 gametes, 1 and 2, right? 2 gametes are there, correct? Two gametes are, so if two gametes are going to fuse with two different types of cells, then it is fertilization, correct? So how many types of fertilization? Double fertilization. The vegetative fuse with this here, okay, so here first fertilization takes place, first fertilization, okay, and egg cell, okay, you can say here second fertilization, okay, not first, just a minute, I will clear the concept. Second fertilization, where is the first? When the generative, okay, the generative one is fused with the egg cell, this is the first fertilization. So how many times fertilization takes place? 2 times. Yes, that is the reason we used to known as double fertilization. Clear? Double fertilization, simple concept that male gamete or pollen can contain two male gamete, one is vegetative and another one is generative. So once the generative cells fuse with the egg cell of the ovule, the first fertilization, and that is going to form the embryo and develop into the future plant and the seeds that we used to future plant, okay, embryo. Second fertilization, what happened in the polar central nucleus, which are the result of when the cells from both the poles move towards the center, okay, polar central cell, you can say polar central nucleus, okay. What happened? The vegetative gamete of the pollen grain get fused with that polar central nucleus. So gamete is getting fused now. That is the reason why we used to say as second fertilization. So hope you people understood what first double fertilization and triple fusion, and we all got the concept of female. And so in here we are completing with what? Here we are completing with the male and female reproductive organ in the case of plant. Now we will also discuss about the things that see, one more thing, compatible factors is their compatibility. One thing we need to be remembered that only the pollen grain of a particular species going to be fall on the stigma, then only pollen tube germinate. It's not like a pollen grain of jackfruit is going to fall on the stigma of the mango and you will get the result. No, they are specific with their species, okay. If the pollen grain of mango going to be fall on the stigma of the mango plant, then only it is going to be successful. So you need to remember such kind of point. Second thing, successful fertilization and the receptive conditions of the receptive conditions is going to be maintained only when both the male and female gamete going to be mature. Both are needs to be mature. If it is like the first male get mature and female was not, then what happened? In the same flower the reproduction will not going to be take place. What will be happen? Suppose that male or the male reproductive part or anther get mature first, that is going to be high and going to spread with the help of different media, okay, and fall on other flower of the same species, okay, which is mature, means female is mature, then only fertilization takes place. In the same way, suppose that female is mature, okay, and anther was not mature. During that condition, what happened? The female going to receive the pollen grain, other pollen grain of the same species with the help of air, insect and other media. And what happened? The male which will mature later, they again going to be fertilize some other flower of the same species. So this is what receptive conditions mean to say when the male reproductive part or female reproductive part is in mature condition. Okay, that is actually the receptive conditions of ovary. It means that when the ovary is mature and ready to receive the pollen grain, okay, for the fertilization. The feature that I have discussed you, like maturation things, the change in the size of filament of male and female reproductive, filament of male flower, reproductive part, that is anther in the case of anther. So all those factors are actually the adaptation in plant which help them to bring out or overcome inbreeding depression, means they prevent self-fertilization, okay, they promote cross-fertilization. So such kind of things are there which help the plant to adapt in the environment with diverse character, because if the pollen grains, okay, or the genetic information going to come from different plant of the same species, then there is chances of diversity and variation which help the organism to adapt in their particular conditions. Okay, so with that we are going to stop today's class and hope you people understood. So here we are complete with male and female reproductive part. In the next class we will be there with different topics. Thank you and have a nice day.